What's up, everyone? Let's talk about how to choose a youth girls lacrosse stick based on the stringing. Let's go! So as you see, there's about 3 types of stringing you could choose for a girls lacrosse stick. You could choose a built-in mesh, you could choose a pocket and string it with mesh, or you could choose a more traditional pocket that has this leather stringing. How to choose which one partially depends on the age of your child. I would not recommend a stick like this for anyone over the 8U category. Traditionally in girls lacrosse, you're not allowed to have a pocket, but there are different rules for the different age groups. Next week we'll post a video exactly on what those stick rules are, so make sure you subscribe below so that way you get notified of the video next week. But if your daughter is 8U or younger, I highly recommend a stick like this. You can have either version, but I think something like this works a little bit better because it is a built-in mesh pocket. It will stay pretty consistent for you. If your child's a little bit older, it becomes a little bit more of a challenge. Do you go with a mesh or do you go with the traditional style, as it's called, that kind of spider web looking thing? With mesh, I like the fact that it's all one piece. It's easier to put together. There's just some small strings on the sides, on the top, on the bottom. Not too difficult to put together. On the traditional side, there's a lot of stringing involved. On the mesh side, I think it does a little bit better job in the weather. However, it will bag out over time, so you're going to have to replace it. Traditional, I think it's a little worse in the weather, but with the leather, I think you can make a lot of individual small corrections to adjust your pocket just the way you need. The traditional probably will last longer, but I think you're going to have to do some more corrections over time. I have personally strung both of these sticks up. The mesh I found to be significantly easier because I'm a little bit more familiar with mesh. Now, I wasn't a stringer of sticks in my past. I always had other people string my stick for me, but I will say mesh I think is a lot easier to string, and I'm okay with buying an extra piece of mesh if I have to replace it because I think it's a lot easier to do. On the traditional side, I think it's a lot more difficult to do. So, quick recap on what I suggest. If you're 8U or younger, something like this would be absolutely perfect because you are allowed the pocket, or you could do mesh or traditional and build a pocket into it. As you get older, you could choose between mesh or traditional. It doesn't matter. It is totally up to you what you prefer. My preference is going to be mesh because I find it easier to string, and if my girls need help, I know how to fix this. If there's something wrong with this guy, it's going to take me a long time. So that's it. There's the 3 options when it comes to pockets for youth girls lacrosse. The all-in-one, the stringing it up mesh, the string it up traditional. It is totally up to you and what works best for you and your age level. If you want to know more about girls pocket rules, come back next week. Hit that subscribe and like button for me so you know when the next video is coming out. And as we say around here, don't forget the little things.